How's it going, everybody? ArcGenOfficial here, back with another video. And last video, guys, I said that this series was going to be called ArcGen Yaps a Lot or something like that. But I've actually found a better name for it called TalkOn! TalkOn is basically an entire series where I just talk about whatever I want to talk about, whether it's a theory, whether it's something else. So if you guys also enjoy this, please like, comment, subscribe. And in that comment section, I want you to, give your own thoughts about what I'm talking about. I want to see paragraphs in the comments. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the video. Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about One Piece. Now, I know a lot of you might be either seething or you might be like, what's he going to talk about? Well, for those of you who don't know what One Piece is basically a Japanese anime about a boy named Luffy who has mysterious stretchy powers that he got from eating what's called a devil fruit. And in this show, there was a original king of the pirates, and the king of the pirates had a beautiful treasure, but when he died, he hid the treasure somewhere that no one knew where it was. But they knew that it was in the deepest part of the ocean where only the toughest sailors can go. And so Luffy is wanting to become the king of the pirates. And so this entire story is about him going and finding all these different people that he wants to collab with and basically make them a part of his crew. And now a lot of people might be like, okay, that sounds like an actual pretty good story. There's superpowers, there's, a pirate crew, this sounds great, right? Well, it's actually a lot more complicated than that, because this show has over 1,800 episodes at 20 minutes apiece. Now, I know what that sounds like. I know everybody in here is going to be like, what? At least the people who don't know. Everybody's going to be like, what? That is so many episodes. Why would anybody sit through that and binge that? Well, you'd actually be surprised. There's a lot of people who actually binge this show on repeat. And for me personally, I don't understand that. I don't understand this show being repeated for anybody. Now, that's just my opinion, and I'll go about that in a little bit. But as of right now, I want to talk about One Piece statistic-wise, right? So One Piece, as of right now, is the #1 anime ever. I mean, everybody knows of it, everybody kind of enjoys it, and those who say, oh no, I don't like the show, but have never seen it, and end up actually watching it, they actually start to like it and enjoy it. Except for me. Now, I know what that sounds like for a lot of those of you who actually enjoy One Piece. I'm not saying that I did not enjoy One Piece. I did enjoy One Piece. But I'm not saying that I'm going to repeat watching it. I have only gotten 340 episodes into One Piece. Now that seems like a lot for those of you who are not like avid anime watchers and don't watch One Piece. But those of you who have seen One Piece are like, but you're so early. You haven't even gotten to the good parts yet. I mean, you haven't even gotten to the time skip, and the time skip is so great because the art style changes and the story gets a lot, more deep. And I've heard everything about the show. I've heard spoilers. I've heard how it's not that long in retrospect and how it's the best show ever. And I know, I get that. I understand. I have shows that I've tried to tell my friends about, and they're like, no, it absolutely sucks. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. But One Piece for me is not that type of show, right? And I'm gonna explain. So why did it lose me, right? One Piece lost me about right when something very specific happens in the story. One of the characters dies, and those of you who don't know, by like 340 episodes, the people who do know One Piece know which character I'm talking about. Well, that character made me cry. That entire episode made me cry. And I've actually cried twice in the show already. One of them was one of the characters' backstories, and the other one was this moment. Now, just because a show makes you cry does not mean that it is necessarily good. What I see and how I see this is that there are basically two schools of thought when you're trying to, you know, put a show as your favorite. Number one is, did you like the show? And did you like the characters in the show? For me, I really liked the characters, but I didn't like the show, but I kind of did like the storyline, right? And so you're like, okay, well, why don't you like the show? Why isn't it top 10 then? The second reason is rewatchability. Rewatchability means I can go back into the show as many times as I want, and I can rewatch it all the time. Like, I can watch all of it all the way through, turn it back, rewatch all of it all the way through. That is rewatchability for me. I love rewatching shows, movies. When No Way Home came out on digital, I watched it 17 times in a row. So, number one, time does not get to me. Everybody's like, oh, well, it's too long. It's so many episodes. I couldn't sit through that. For me personally, I don't have that issue because there are 2 or 3 different medias that I have seen multiple times that kind of contradict this, right? So One Piece in its entirety is about 350 to 450 hours. That means it takes about 15 to 19 days on repeat to finish One Piece. So in anybody's mind, this would be like, okay, that's an entire 3 weeks that, you know, just put on repeat, right? Well, for me, I couldn't watch it on repeat because when I was watching it, I didn't enjoy a lot of the different storylines they were doing, and it lost me a lot just because the plot kept changing, you know? It kept changing to, oh, we want to, you know, find the One Piece. Oh, but we have to go here, so we're going to go here. Oh, but now we have to, you know, get crew members, so we're going to get crew members. Oh, but we can't, you know, go to the One Piece, and so we have to follow this compass to random islands throughout the entirety of the show. And for a lot of people, it's like, oh, that's great, you know, if that's like an ADHD person's, you know, the best dream, right? For me, though, I do have, you know, ADHD, but I don't like that, you know? I kind of like a story that has a, you know, a set narrative, and that's something that I didn't realize that I liked until watching One Piece. And for those of you who might be wondering, okay, well, what have you seen that's 350 hours or 450 hours of? Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is my all-time favorite anime. It is top 1 of my animes. Now, with that, you might be wondering, okay, well, what animes do you enjoy? You know, what animes are you enjoying? Well, I will say I'm going to have a video, and I will link the video into this one. And so if you guys want to go see that, go watch it. It'll probably be named my top 10 animes of all time. So go check that out when that video comes out. But for right now, I'm just going to say about Demon Slayer. So Demon Slayer, I have rewatched a lot of times. And I mean a lot of times. And I've also been watching it as it's come out. So let's say, you know, I watched season 1 when it came out. So I watched season 1, then I watched it again. And then I watched season 2, then I watched it all again. Then I watched season 3, watched it all again, 4, 5. I did that many, many times. So in total, I've probably seen about 340 to about 400 hours of Demon Slayer. So for me, I was able to rewatch Demon Slayer a plethora of times, which in doing so is about the same amount of hours that One Piece is. So it's definitely not the time, but it's definitely the story loses me, and because of that, with the narrative not being there, I just stopped watching it entirely. And right now, for those of you who have seen it, I'm on Thriller Bark, not really liking it, and you know, it's kind of hard to watch it. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, when someone introduces you to a show, right, and you don't really like it from the pilot, and then not only do you not like it from the pilot, but you don't like it for the first season, and then everybody's like, oh, well, don't worry about like season 3, it gets amazing. Okay, I'm just gonna watch season 3 then. I will learn about the storyline, but I'm just gonna watch season 3. Why would I sit through an entire crappy show just so I can get to season 3 where it could potentially be good? I'm not gonna do that. And that's something that I will encourage everybody who is being pressured to watch One Piece. If you don't like it from the first episode, you're not gonna like it throughout the entire show. And that is 100% true. 100% true. Now, as we go along, we kind of get to, is it a bad show? For me, it is not a bad show. There are too many people out there who love the show to think it is a bad show. And on top of that, there is a huge goal that it met. Not only longest anime of all time, but also the #1 anime of all time. And so that alone is something that people need to, understand. Also, if a show makes you cry, it's not a bad show. It has good characters, it has an okay story, but it's not a bad, and it might be too long, or it might, get you a little, like, you stop watching it, but it's not a bad show, But, a lot of this just comes down to, was it fun for me to watch it? And yes, it was kind of fun, and I watched it with my wife, but at a certain part, I stopped watching it because I didn't like where it was going, and I didn't like what I had seen so far. So I'm not going to keep watching it unless I, just decide to watch One Piece. So that is also something. I know that it gets better, but I'm not going to watch it because I don't want to wait until it gets better. I'd rather watch something else and not waste my time. Because wasting your time is a very big thing. Now, wasting your time is something I do professionally. I professionally waste my time. As I just said, I've rewatched Demon Slayer however many times. I've rewatched No Way Home however many times. I have replayed Elden Ring so many times. I have over 1,200 hours in that game, and I've only had it since November of 2024. So that's what I'm saying, okay? And I will talk about Elden Ring and why Elden Ring is one of my favorite video games of all time. Probably not the best, but has roots to be one of the best video games of all time. But that'll be in another video. Again, if you guys, subscribe, you won't be able to miss these videos. So, plus I'd also love the support. So now we've gotten through, everything wrong with One Piece, everything good with One Piece, and where I stand with One Piece. But now let's go back to you guys. What do you guys think about One Piece? Do you like that it's that long and that you can actually stay, watching a show for that long? Or are you guys someone who just likes a short, simple narrative, simple, easy, to the point? Or are you guys liking it because it's kind of like a SpongeBob? And for those of you who don't know what SpongeBob is SpongeBob, every single episode is different. Every single episode of SpongeBob, something new happens. And so the same thing kind of happens in One Piece, where every single arc, something completely different happens. And it's like almost a completely different show every single arc. And so this is something that I have found that's like, I could like it, but if the show doesn't promote itself as every single season or every single episode is different, then it's going to push a narrative that I'm not going to enjoy because I'm thinking it's supposed to be a narrative when it's not. So, but that's it. I mean, that's basically all I can say about One Piece. If you guys like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to tell me what you guys think about this conversation. If you guys even like One Piece, if you don't like One Piece, I want to know, or what's the reason why you rewatched your favorite anime however many times. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.